Hey listeners, Bones here. So, we love having great advertisers supporting our show, but in order for that to happen and to continue happening, we need your help. So please go to podsurvey.com/crucible and take a quick anonymous survey that will help us get to know you a little better. That way we can show advertisers just how great all of our listeners are. The current one is new and different, so I'd really love it if you could take it all over again. Plus, once you've completed the survey, you can enter to win a $100 Amazon gift card again. Plus, once you've completed the survey, you can enter to win a $100 Amazon gift card. Again, that's podsurvey.com/crucible, CRUCIBLE. Thank you for your help.
Well, old chaps, how about a nice rumble to close out the
Yes,
evening?
let's start up a private match, shall we?
Flying in, yes.
Exodus Blue, all agreed.
Oh, great choice.
Hop!
Ape it me, will you? I'll butter your bean, you turkey warlock.
Oh, we're getting into it, are we? Is this what's happening? Oh, little friendly trash talk. I say, you just got bloody crushed, chump.
I've got a surprise for you, old friend. It's a little extra pepper on the palindrome.
Oh, that's a nice crutch weapon that you choose to use, huh? How about trying out a primary?
Excuse me, chaps. I just received a telegram from... What is this, Fallout's mother? She says she fancies me and wishes to show me about old time.
Wow, Fallout's mother's really getting naughty in this one, huh? Oh, I see Swain is disregarding the sweat rules using Twilight Garrison and Queenbreaker's bow. Must need the aim assist or something on that.
No, I'm going to report you for Punji for being not
Jolly
skilled.
good scrubs.
Jolly good scrums.
I do declare, chaps, get wrecked.
Let's say we record a new episode of Crucible Radio, huh?
Top showing, friend.
Well, hey there, famous birds. How are you doing today?
Well, hello there, Mr. Dry Ass Bones 81.
Dry ass.
I'm doing great. Swainstache _ how you feeling?
Feeling fucking awesome. No, I'm tired.
Swain was like 5 minutes late to recording tonight, and I just knew it was because he was taking a nap.
We knew exactly what was happening.
I knew exactly what was happening.
It's never enough. I got like 4 hours of sleep last night. I was like, I'll be fine.
Burning that candle. Both ends. All right, guys. Well, we are 100% into this new patch. We've had time to shake out our loadouts and see kind of how everyone else has shook it on out.
I'm shook.
Everybody's shook.
I'm shook, man.
I'm not saying it's fully shook, but it's pretty darn shook. What do you guys think?
I'm all shook up.
I'm all shook up.
You know what? I was thinking about that. I feel pretty good about Destiny these past few days. Since the weekend, I've been playing a lot of pubs. I'm just trying to grind out for some new hand cannons. You know, I got the vendor pally and a good IS Luna. It's not like I need something, but you know, always after that god roll. And I have been weirdly spending a lot of time playing Gunslinger, like most of my time playing Gunslinger. Maybe as just something fresh and something I hadn't done for a very long time. But I don't know. Something about the patch feels good. Something about the less shotgunning I'm doing. Because, you know, I might go Blade Dancer for the melee and the extended slide, or I might go Night Stalker for the shade step while I was shotgunning previously. Now I don't need that sort of move anymore. So I'm just having fun throwing lots of grenades and lots of knives and running Frosties and no land. So I'm having a really good time. Oh, and Monte Carlo. It's a Monte Carlo meta, baby.
Not much different before. Just kind of doing my thing. We played some trials over the weekend. You got to hear us talk a little bit about it last episode, but yeah, Trials is fun in this new meta. Sidearms, definitely fun.
Little there.
Yeah, I don't know. It hasn't changed much for me. I still use my same old fusion rifles, IS Luna, Sunbreaker. I'm most interested in seeing what happens with the smaller tweaks coming up. With Sunbreaker and some of the exotics and such. So I'm excited to try those out. I don't know. I think I'm rambling. Tired.
Sleepy Swain is back.
Back
Once in a while. I was doing fine, and then I don't know. Can't form full sentences. And
Hey, got too sleepy. It happens.
Birds, how you feeling?
I have to say, man, like, I don't know what it is, but I'm loving it. I just feel so invigorated playing Destiny. I've probably played more in the last week. And just casual matches here and there, but I've been more excited to play Destiny than I have been in a long time. I would say my primary game has not changed that much. Still got my favorite AS Luna and that vendor palindrome. I am loving the sidearm renaissance. I have no problem with the dominance of sidearms right now. I've pulled a couple interesting ones out of my vault. I think my favorite for sure is still that first Iron Banner Iron Wreath. That's the go-to. I did pick up the Wormwood that all the kids are into these days, and I see why people like it. It is very good. Although I have to say, I don't know if you guys have used it, but the small magazine size, only having 12, like that's super frustrating because when I'm pushing with a sidearm, I want to be able to get a kill and then like get another kill and maybe clean up a third one. I don't want to use 75% of my magazine on the first kill and then have to like disengage and reload. I don't know, but I'll tell you what, I also pulled out, and I think it was, God, this must have been pre-Taken King, but the vendor, the New Monarchy vendor Conviction 2, this thing is a treat. It's got rangefinder, sure shot, spray and play, and hand loaded on it. So really sort of pushing the limits of range. It's a full 6 points higher range with rangefinder on top of that than the Iron Wreath. It doesn't quite do as well in stability, but it's just a blast to play with. I really like it. The other thing I've been doing is really forcing myself to play with No Land Beyond and like finally getting to the point where I can chain a couple kills together with it, which is nice.
Yeah. I was going to say that I'm liking the game, except for all of the things that were laid out in the weekly update, the week at Bungie. That being said, like,
I like the game, but I hate everything in it.
No, I'm saying that the problems currently bugging me slightly are like all being addressed, which is the best thing to happen. So it's like, yeah, this aspect is maybe a little bothersome, but hey, we just talked about it right here. Great. It might change in the future. So the fact that they're really pinpointing key areas that are still maybe amiss with the new patch is really reassuring.
So, Bones, why don't you tell me a little bit more about these changes? Because I was asleep.
Okay. Well, while you were sleeping, Josh Hamrick stopped by this week at Bungie to just talk about what they're working on. Of course, he always has a disclaimer saying this stuff could change. Sometimes it may not even happen, but this is how they're feeling, and it's likely that they'll ship. So, disclaimer. But the first one was, of course, sidearms. And like birds, I'm enjoying them. I'm having fun, mostly because it's a gun I never used before. Like I'm actually very, very close to hitting my grimoire for sidearms. Like that's how rarely I touch them. So yeah, fun shake up in the meta. The thing that bothers me right now about them is that I know I'm using them and a lot of people are using them to just sort of not deal with the special ammo change at the moment. And obviously in trials, it's even more proficient and noticeable. But it's frustrating because I want to figure out the new special ammo thing. And I do switch. I do shotgun and I do fusion rifle. But it's going to take that much longer for the the meta to settle for people to get their full feelings on special ammo and stuff like that. But hey, the longer it takes us for us to figure out what's good and settle into something is probably a good thing.
I know we're talking about this upcoming patch. There's a thing about sidearms I kind of want to talk about. Would now be an okay time to go on a sidearm related tangent?
Yeah, I mean, people have only commented on this show every episode for 88 episodes. Why don't you guys talk about sidearms ever? So I think it's not a bad call.
Okay, so here's the thing. I've been playing. I mean, I play Night Stalker. It's what I like. And the thing about sidearm that is really interesting to me, especially when you don't see as many shotguns, is that sidearms promote an interesting air game because the in-air accuracy on them seems super duper solid, but it's a very different, like you can play an aggressive pushing sidearm air game that is very different than an aggressive pushing shotgun air game. Because with a shotgun, you're trying to close the gap, right? You're trying to get some altitude, get out of the line of sight, but you're still just closing, right? You're waiting until you get within that range where you can pull the trigger. And the thing I found with sidearms is that you're pushing, but you're not trying to close the gap 100%. You don't want to get meleeed. You don't want to get shotgunned. And so what you can do, because your in-air accuracy is so good, is like when I go into an engagement, I am by default trying to stay at the very top of my jump. As soon as I get into the engagement and I land on the ground, I'm getting back into the air and looking down at my feet again. And it's got sort of, I don't know, there's a push and pull to it. So they're trying to close in. I'm kind of moving backwards in the air. They're falling back or they're going around a corner. I'm going to try and go around the corner at sort of maximum altitude just to get that high ground on them.
I've got the high ground.
Don't try it.
You know how good the high ground is. I don't know. Maybe this is obvious to everyone, but just like that mechanic of playing aggressive kind of air game sidearm usage that is, it's got this certain distance to it. I don't know. I think it's really fun. I'm having so much fun doing with it, and I'm having so much fun jumping around corners and jumping into engagements and not having to worry about closing a gap into maybe there's a group of people there. I don't know. I like it. It's a different thing, and it's changed my play style.
Meh.
Go back to sleep, sleepy Spain. Okay, tangent. Unless you guys want to comment on it, tangent complete. Let's get back to these patch notes.
Yeah, I'm feeling the vibe of sidearms. I like the in-air plays. Honestly, that's what makes this game very interesting, is when the amazing movement abilities are utilized and come into play in engagements, which is why, the adjustment to in-air accuracy for shotguns kind of hurt. I didn't like it because it takes away from the dance, man. And there's definitely a dance with sidearms, which is like my favorite part about Destiny at the moment. And it's cool that all the primaries kind of get to join in on the dance as well. This is a weird metaphor, but anyways, let's continue on with the TWAB. The other, obviously, major thing that has been on everyone's mind is the Memory of Scory artifact. This was talked about the day the patch came out, obviously, or the day they did the stream. Everyone's like, what's up with Scories? So Hamrick has a little bit of a change that I don't know if anyone ever suggested, at least nothing I heard seemed to think of this. Always great. Always shows you that maybe
we don't just because know the best way to do everything.
We're good at Destiny doesn't mean everyone knows the answer. We'll see if this is the answer. That's also the other side of it. Anyways, so what happens is this is going to encourage you to hurry up and not sort of just sit in the back or not do anything. It motivates you to do activity, but it requires a kill to jumpstart Scory's unique ability. For a minute, for 60 seconds. So basically get a kill, and just like lots of other perks in Destiny, like Battle Runner or Crowd Control, Scories is active and it'll last for 60 seconds. But that means you can't do it right after a wipe. You can't do it at the beginning of a Trials round. You cannot spawn into Pantheon and stay up top on that platform and charge 3 supers before you even begin to engage. You have to get a kill first for that to happen. And that requires a little more communication and grouping up and stuff like that. So I'm really, really interested to see how this plays out in Trials. And I think it's a smart change.
I dig it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they address the scenario that everyone is, I don't know, maybe worried about that I didn't see that much of, but just cut it out entirely, which is camping in spawn, which is the match starts and we're just going to get as far back as we can, stay off radar and sit here. That's out of the way now. I honestly would be impressed at this point if a team was like planning to say, all right, we're going to push, we're going to get our pick, and then we are going to fall back really far. I mean, really far. We all got our snipers and now we wait. That seems even more unlikely.
Yeah, just giving the other team a res. I don't know. Very strange.
Yeah, like I said before, but like I'm sure it's like exacerbated by when you play hundreds of Trials games in a weekend. You see way more of it, but casually, I haven't really ran into it. So
yeah, we had a game on Black Shield where, we lost to a bunch of supers, but it happens. I see it. I get it. Moving on, Truth might get another rocket in the mag. Maybe they hit it a little hard with only one. I haven't used Truth in a very long time, but it is a crazy awesome rocket. Truth was responsible for some of like the first clips on Reddit that I thought were amazing. And that was when First Light came up in Clash all the time and someone would get Truth and you lock it on and then aim it way up to the right and it would basically fly around orbit and come back and kill someone. Just the coolest thing ever. Another one, Blink. I said last week that I just didn't know what had ever inspired another Blink nerf, and they mentioned that it's been hit quite a few times. So they're thinking about removing the old recovery nerf. That means when you equip it in your fruit space up there, it actually knocks you a couple points of recovery. And on Blade Dancers, this could give you 0 recovery. Like it could actually completely eliminate that stat, which I think made a lot of people not really feel like using it. So we'll see if that makes people play it more. I don't know. I don't know if it'll suddenly appear at the top of the meta, but at least it won't be incredibly detrimental. And Birds, you mentioned you were just getting into this gun, but No Land Beyond's flinch will be addressed. If anyone has any experience shooting someone 3 times and still getting sniped from their No Land Beyond, that's because in simple terms, No Land Beyond has a visual flinch. It looks like your screen is shaking, but the gun is not affected by that, so it's still aiming where you had originally pointed it, which made for some kind of dirty shots that felt cool. And you're like, ooh, I really got him and I beat him. But ultimately is kind of frustrating and makes that gun a really good choice at the moment.
There you go. Well, enjoy it while it lasts.
And enjoy it after. I think it's still going to be good. I love No Land Beyond.
I feel like, and I think I said the same thing last time, like a season ago when I was trying to figure out No Land Beyond. I feel like the main thing that kind of clicks after I play it for a while is just aiming a little bit higher than you think. Like if you just center their head in the circle, that's still a little bit too low. You want to push up a little bit. The other thing I find is when I'm sprinting, you get the little sort of carrot to show where your crosshair is. Really focusing on putting that, sort of using that to pre-aim as I'm repositioning, just to make it that much easier when, you come around and it's engagement time. I don't know. I think the other thing that's kind of nice about No Land Beyond is that there's just not that many other snipers in the mix right now. So if you're terrible with No Land Beyond and are trying to learn how to use it, now's a great time. That longest range, there's some space to be a less than perfect player there.
Fun fact about No Land Beyond that we might have mentioned on the show before.
Turns out there actually is Land Beyond.
Yeah.
They just didn't know about it back then. Hey, I got a laugh from Sleepy Swain.
That gun was made by flat earthers. Actually, no, I was going to say that when you have a headshot lined up with No Land Beyond, there's a teeny little red light that pops up and it'll actually say you're aiming at someone's head.
Oh,
How about that?
Yeah, it's very hard to see and you rarely have enough time to decide and wait for that red light to confirm anything, but drop into a private match and you'll actually notice that. There's your fun fact of the day, Crucible Radio.
All right. Well, if you've been listening to Crucible Radio for the past couple weeks, you'll know that we are going to be giving you some exclusive coverage of what's going on in the world of competitive Destiny. In particular, the highest level of play. This is DCS, part of Farcog's PvP Legends, and we are through our first round of qualifiers this week, guys.
Ooh.
We've got our top seeds have been picked. They've been determined, and
Tell me more.
Yeah, so these are, named teams that you're going to start hearing about starting now and for the rest of the season. As Farcog was explaining last week, there's sort of a champions tier, and these guys will be battling it out for the ultimate title, while some other teams are still fighting their way through qualifiers and trying to get on this level as well. And there's people on those teams. So it's cool to see this kind of shape out and see teams solidify their positions at the top.
I think we should call some of these out. These top 8 teams, the qualifiers were pretty heated. We saw a lot of high level competition, but these are the teams that rose to the top, and no surprise for a lot of these. There's a lot of familiar names, but we got to give credit where credit is due. In first position, top seed number 1 is I Am. You know him. We've got Triple Rec running the show and filling out the rest of the team. Lil Sonic, Say Wallabra, Sir Demetrius, Made in America, and Flanker. One thing that was interesting about this loadout is that there are some very good snipers here, but at least in terms of these qualifiers, we're seeing pretty much shotguns across the board in this group.
Yeah, not many other ones besides that.
Yeah, Flanker is listed as a sniper, and it is cool to see anyone sniping at all. And some other snipers are doing that now, and that's a direct result of this special change and the fact that primaries are pretty good, and being able to really utilize sniping in objective game modes, because straight clash, maybe it's not the thing. Maybe you just want to focus on pushes, or maybe you just want to focus on getting a zone. But snipers have a big advantage if you've got that sort of scrim in the middle, and then they can sort of get picks. But being able to access more special ammo quicker and also not get a shotgun in their face constantly is allowing some of these guys to snipe once again, which is good to see.
All right, in the number 2 seed, again, no surprises here. We've got God Squad. So, of course, this is Gabe, War Bulletproof, LMNO, Just a Killer, and Defilement. Shotguns across the board, except for, of course, War Bulletproof rocking his trusty sniper. One little twist here.
Notable absence.
Notable absence. For me, probably the name I associate with God Squad, Poshy, is out of the game.
Yeah.
He deleted all of his characters.
He held square, man. He did it. He held square.
Yep.
Not even accidentally.
Yeah, this was, this most recent patch dropped. It's a pretty dramatic change to Destiny as we know it, and it wasn't having it. Not the call I would have made, but I gotta give him some respect for following through. And God Squad's going to be scrambling to fill out.
Hey, man. My favorite thing in Destiny is deleting stuff.
That's true.
Poshy,
I've deleted more.
Poshy essentially just did what I dream about doing, which is just dismantle all of it.
No, I was watching him the one day, and he was just, I'm not struggling, but swapping between games is definitely difficult. And coming back to Destiny, it takes a lot of motor skill. It takes a lot of remembering your how you're using your hand cannon, how you're using your secondary, your movement, maps, all that. So it's a lot. So we'll welcome him back at Destiny 2. I'm sure he'll be back.
Yeah.
Yep. Or maybe the grind is starting already. He's got that that first white hand cannon. He's climbing his way back to the top.
He just wanted a Calcutta. That's it.
Yeah. New Duke meta. All right. Third seed. I would be shocked if they were any lower. It's fan favorites, the Bomb Squad Kittens, with, of course, the perennial Master Night Stalker, Lumi. Anbu, I Drop Bodies, X44 Matt, OTF, and Nephariah. Now, this is interesting. It looks like the wall has disbanded, and Nephariah has made the move over to Bomb Squad Kittens to play with them for the season. Now, in PvP Legends and DCS, once you get your team locked in, that's it. There's no jumping around. You know, this is something we've seen quite a bit in the competitive scene, is sort of these teams shifting. So to see that move happen and to see sort of BSK get locked down into this lineup, I think they've got a real solid group. I'm going to be paying attention to them this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget the tournament watching Lumi, Anbu, and OTF play Primal, and Anbu going off. I think they mercied them on Widow's Court or something like that. And that was the first time we had Lumi on the show after that tournament. And that was when I was just like, okay, I'm in. Like, I'm obsessed with this. I've seen competitive games before, but this is the shit. So that was I'm always carefully watching them.
It's good to remind people that we are saying 6 names, even though this is 4s.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Each team has 4 starters and 2 subs.
I mean, when you're looking at a team that's going to play together over the course of a season, you know, people have got scheduling issues. Real life intervenes. So you got to make sure that you've got some solid backups there. Our number 4 seed, this team has captured an emotion like none other. With 4 H's, get it right. Up front, we've got Frostbolt, MWG, Electro VG, and Radical Destroyer. Shotguns across the board. And in the 5th place, the top 5th seed is Unknown Talent.
Even though Coach is pretty known.
I know some of these names.
So, of course, you mentioned Nkooch. He's rocking the shotgun, going for that Voidwalker shotgun loadout. Can't blame him, especially when you're playing 4s. Just, it can get so chaotic. And filling out the rest of his team is Grimvoss, QQ, OS Sloth, and it's just Pow Pow.
One thing also to notice, looking at these lineups, everyone has their subclass listed, and you've obviously got some dedicated players, like Ninja is going to be on Sunbreaker a lot, Elemento on Blade. There's people you can see and go, okay, great, they're going to play that forever. But then you've got people like QQ and, say, Wallabra, who have listed 3 subclasses, Night Stalker, Sunsinger, Golden Gun, Blade Dancer, all one person's choice. So that's cool that they can actually rotate those around. And it's also cool to see a Golden Gun showing up in a competitive meta, which has not happened for quite a while. And they've recently made a resurgence. So it's going to be nice to see some of these subclasses showing up in 4s.
And I think having that flexibility as a team is very important. I mean, you've got some players who have just got their subclass dialed in. But look, you're putting together a competitive group of 4 from, 5 or 6 players. To have someone who can really sort of cover the bases, fill out whatever that particular lineup of players needs is super important. So good to see we've got some strong flex players here. All right, top 6, Hotel California. Yeah, that's like 3 puns for the price of none of them, because I'm not paying for that, but. We've got some big names here and some beloved names. We've got Ramblin'. We've got Ninja with Noel. We've got in the sub position, and you'll hear from him in just a bit, Mr. Fallout Plays, but also Terminator, Alex Auditore, Free Falling, and Murdaro making an appearance here. Someone I sort of very strongly identify as a dominant Trials player. But to be honest, I've never seen too much personally in the scrim scene, in this competitive scene. Yeah, I think they've got quite a team here.
And here's where you're going to start seeing certain clan members who just want to compete, and maybe they don't get in. There's, these clans have a lot of players. They can fill multiple teams. So obviously Murdaro being in Bomb Squad Kittens is putting together another team. So it's cool that everyone's going to get in on this and maybe get to play some clan members in some matches down the road.
It's not also nice to see Ninja sticking with Sunbreaker, even though it's definitely not the meta in Sweats right now.
Yeah, I have been playing my Titan a little bit. Sunbreaker is not dead. I think it's going to get a buff from the change
Yeah.
to health perks, like Cauterize with no cooldown. So it could be a monster, but strikers do feel really solid, and it was kind of nice getting back on my striker. We see a striker on almost every team, I think. So it is nice, like I said, to see some subclass representation here.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is the team that I've been paying the most attention to because it's got a lot of my friends in it. And
Bias.
I'm biased. Yeah, I'm allowed to have a home team. But Ninja, I love watching Ninja use Sunbreaker, and he's been using Suncharge a lot, so gets an A+ in my book.
Well, it's interesting to see sort of the way these subclasses break down in scrim play versus pubs. No question, Sunbreaker is an incredibly strong all-around choice. But when you get into the scrim play where super management is such an important part of the metagame, sort of the higher level thing going on, having that immediate counter, that immediate stopping power of Striker is a hard thing to pass up, even though it's not, your big roaming super. Mm-hmm. So no surprises there. All right, seed number 7. I don't know if they've decided to call themselves TBD or they're still working on a name. Either way, stay tuned to Crucible Radio. We'll be the first breaking this story once we get clarification on that. Again, some big names here. Rhythms here, Reckons here, Little Man, Roasted Banana, Burkhan, and LVG Viet. Shotguns across the board. Locking down that 7th position. Glad to see that they're holding it down at the top of the comp scene here.
Another notable Sunbreaker, Lock-In, and Golden Gun selections. I'm just happy to see those subclasses getting some play.
And holding it down in the 8th seed, we've got Zyphos Alpha. I'm going to be honest, I don't recognize a lot of these names, but kudos to them. This is how names get made. We've got Rec Furio, DKM Joss, Restuvion, Jay Skillers, Cujo, and Draftdale. Yeah, welcome to the very top seed. We're going to be paying attention.
And we've got Rec Furio is running Golden Gun Sniper as of now, and Jay Skillers, Night Stalker, sniping and shotgunning. So there's a couple snipers to keep your eye on, and I want to see some snipes in these games like the old days. So always nice to see that.
All right. Well, our friend Peter, who's one of the wizards behind the scenes at DCS, has done some post-match interviews with a team that's very near and dear to our hearts. So we're going to be getting a couple words from them. But I do want to mention, if you are interested in getting in the mix here, regardless of what skill level you're at, if you can put a team together and would like to compete, everything you need is at pvplegends.com. You can follow it, but if you want to sign up, go ahead and hop in. We're definitely seeing a very strong show out in on the PS4 side in US. Xbox is looking a little thin, and the EU, Latin America, and Australia, New Zealand regions are hurting for players. So if you've got a strong team on Xbox or outside of the US, give it a shot. The competition is certainly sort of dominant in PS4 US. So you might have a chance to make a name for yourself climbing the ladder in a non-US region.
So one of the qualifying teams that we wanted to mention, because it has some big names on it that people are going to be watching, is Team Casual. This is consisting of Dr. Lupo, True Vanguard, Stevrio, Genius, and Mountain Man. And I watched some of their qualifying games on Lupo's channel, and Genius was putting up huge games. It was really fun to watch. And they are making a play at the top 8. And so they got a few quotes from these guys after the first round of qualifiers.
So first up, we got a bit of a word from Dr. Lupo. He had this to say. I think we did fantastic for the first 2 rounds. Then when True Vanguard had to split, we lost cohesion and an important part of the team comp. So Striker out, Sunbreaker in, for how the group ran. I played more aggressively the first 2 series, which paid off quite a bit. Plus, I was able to support effectively in zone control and clash with a snipe. Only really possible because of the special ammo change.
That's interesting. It's nice to see that the 2 different game modes came into play, and in the way that he used his loadout. He didn't have to force himself to use shotgun. he was still able to snipe. And as we know, Lupo's strengths are in his sniping for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is interesting. I'm curious to see what sort of changes we see round to round as teams move from Clash to Zone Control to Supremacy. You know, they've all got the same basic format of find the other guys and get them so you can do your thing. But, you know, the pacing of a Clash match or a Zone Control match is very different from Supremacy. I wonder if we're going to really start to see those snipers come out in Zone Control where you're really trying to clear the point so you can take it instead of just trading and having to sprint back.
Not to mention Discipline 3 is now the rule. So less grenades is less just covering a point in a spike grenade or smoke, or well, there's going to be smoke, but things like that is really a great space clearer. With less of those, it might be more important to get that one shot kill from farther away and push up.
Yeah, I would say the Void Warlock grenade, the Axion Bolt, is the one that is going to mess with you the most when you're doing like zone control. Going to get you off the zone. It's going to push you away. It's going to get you running.
So True Vanguard actually had a few comments on that as well. He played 2 out of the 3 series, but he said, I can't speak for the final series, but in the other 2, I can say our biggest struggle was the objective-based game types. Coordinated pushes for key areas of the map, crests, and zones was something we can improve on.
Ever the scholar of the game, always trying to improve. But he's really touched on something important here, which is that, you know, a lot of these top scrim players have been focused on skirmish game mode. So it's all about getting that pick, pure aggression, collapsing.
Go.
Exactly. Don't slow down. Just keep getting those kills. And to really sort of anchor play around certain parts of the map, whether that's a control point or just that one bit of the map where all of the crests are, because some crazy things just happened there a second ago, is really going to require these teams to bring out their teamwork, to keep their communication up, and to maybe do a little bit of push and pull, maybe slow down a little bit so they can make that concerted push together and buy themselves the time they need, even if that's just a second or two.
It's definitely tough for some players to adjust to more objective game modes when they just want to slay. I know, I know a lot of people, they'll just keep killing, and that's good, but you need to keep your eye on the objectives.
Well, I find that interesting that Supremacy comes up in that conversation, because some people will just say, let's just run around with your shotgun getting kills up close. But no, it requires as much focus on pushes and big team plays to swing it, as opposed to just isolated 1v1s all over the map.
Yep. We're going to see teams working together, and that doesn't necessarily just mean bunching up. You know, in Supremacy, it's nice to have someone kind of moving with you to pick up those crests if you end up going down in the process. But all the same, we're going to have to see a lot of coordination here, and this is something these teams are going to figure out. One thing I thought was interesting is looking over all of these top 8 seeds, I don't see a single sidearm in the mix. So
Nope.
Enjoy your sidearms in Clash, pull them out in Trials where it counts, but I think the old wisdom remains, which is if you want to be able to hang with the top players in Destiny, you better have your shotgun in check, or you better be real good at sniping.
Well, that's it to start. We've got our 8 top seeds. We are going to be following these guys, see how it shakes out, paying attention to see if gunslingers and sunbreakers can really show up big, and if the few snipers who are sort of making a return, so to speak, are going to make an impact on these games.
All right, well, everybody, stay tuned. Coming up next, we got Mr. Fallout Plays with that look at the world that only he can give us. But before we do that, musical break. You guys feeling it?
Yeah,
I'm feeling it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Music this week from Pocket Watch Thieves. Love this band. Go check them out. It's pocketwatchthieves.bandcamp.com. And if you are a musician, we want to hear your music. Maybe play it on the show. Just send us an email. It's crucibleradio@gmail.com. welcome back to the show, everybody. We're here in the lab, in the underground bunker where we record this podcast that has a Bennigan's next door that we frequent
and Chuck
before,
E. Cheese.
after, and during every episode. The Chuck E. Cheese is upstairs and around the corner. And joining us in our sanctum sanctorum is a dear old friend, one of the original Crucible Radio family members. So happy to have him back on the show, Mr. Fallout Plays. How's it going?
Hey, boys. How you doing?
Hey, co-host.
Bones, it's been forever. Forever
It's
and
been
a day.
so long since we've sat down and talked about Destiny, something we rarely do ever. Okay, Fallout, for those of you who don't know who you are, because they're like, let me check out this game that just had an update. I'm going to play Destiny for the first time. Who should I be following? Who the heck are you?
Crucible scientist, PvP player, teacher, lover of fine wine, and
Bullshit.
Destiny
Yeah?
tester. Yeah.
What's your favorite wine?
Oh,
Yeah, you like red or yellow?
It's the $7 bottle that I get from Walgreens.
Did you just say red or yellow?
I love a good
Birds, you
yellow
drink
wine.
yellow wine?
Ah, yes.
No, I prefer red wine. Yellow wine is too spicy for me.
Okay. All right. Well, we're thoroughly off track already. So Fallout, you do a lot of testing. And if people don't know what they mean by testing in the Crucible, now that we have private matches, but long before that, you often go into these private matches and you have a friend destroy their KD by standing up against a wall and getting shot in the face repeatedly by a shotgun to test out ranges. Is that correct?
That's pretty accurate, yeah.
Tell me about some of the research you've done recently. Your YouTube channel has got a steady drip of interesting Crucible tidbits, shotgun range being one of them. But what's some of the other stuff that you've been working on?
Working on a whole bunch of stuff. I've been doing, like you mentioned, the shotgun range, midair, weapon accuracy, doing some melee range testing, doing some testing on braced frame versus rifled barrel on your hand cannons. That's an interesting one. Doing testing on armor. That's kind of the big thing I have going on the back burner right now.
Why?
Why is it the big thing, or why am I working on it?
No, why are you working on those things?
Why am I working on it?
Swain is requesting for permission to treat Fallout as a hostile witness.
Yeah.
Swain, you may proceed.
I'm playing bad cop in this interview.
Where were you on February 14th?
Birds is good cop and Bones is medium cop.
That's what they call me,
Fallout,
medium
Fallout,
cop.
Look, once the judge gets a hold of you, you're not going to have anyone to help you out. We can help you. We can put in a good word for you. Now tell us, why are you working on all this stuff? Easy, Swain.
People ask me to,
Oh,
and
okay.
I like to help them out. People tweet at me. They send me messages on Reddit. Leave me comments on YouTube. They really want to know this stuff, and I am always really excited to just know for myself what the right answer is. But I also like to share that information with the people so they can improve their game at PvP by making informed and educated decisions.
Well, all
That's a
right.
pretty good answer. So one thing
You're under
everyone has
arrest,
seen-
but only if you want to be.
You're under a little bit of arrest.
It's me, medium cop.
There's a possibility Andrew edits nothing out of this interview, and people just see what it's
They
like.
deal
here.
with it.
Yeah. So everyone has, been scrolling through Twitter, seeing a clip on Reddit of some crazy shot, or check out the range on this, and that is interesting. You can see, man, they pulled that off, or that was a lucky shot or something. But that's very different from sort of the level of rigor. I mean, when you say scientist, you're not joking. There's definitely the scientific method in play. Tell me a little bit, sort of the work that goes into testing out. Like, let's say you want to figure out sort of max one hit kill shotgun range. You're not just gonna, shoot a guy with a Matador and back up until you get it. There's more to it than that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of plan everything out on paper. And can I just say for the record, I hate shotgun testing. Out of everything that I do, I hate it so much, even though I really love the weapon type. It's random. You know what I mean? I really like very cleanly defined numbers and mechanics in the game. It's like, oh, Fallout, can you tell me what the damage drop off is on a braced frame rangefinder palindrome? Sure, because that's an easy number. It's carved in stone. With shotgun testing, you have pellet spread RNG, which means that every time you pull the trigger on your shotgun, the pellets are going to come out a little bit different. And that can affect a lot of things, including one-hit kill range. So you have to consider that. And you also have to consider, which a lot of people kind of blank on when they do testing on their own, which I always encourage. It's great to have more people out there figuring out things, but they don't think about armor. And a Guardian with very high armor is going to have a further one-hit kill shotgun range than a Guardian with low armor. And there's also the perks that go on the shotgun, the impact, the range, which way the wind is blowing. I don't know. It's just a whole bunch of stuff that can throw you off. I did a video one time where they had tweaked. I'm trying to think of what the tweak was to shotguns. I think they had taken away. What the hell perk was it? They had done something to shotguns. It'll come to me at 2 a.m. in my deepest dreams. And I'll wake up in bed and be like, oh, I gotta call him back. But they tweaked it, and I wanted to find out right away. And I went into a private match and I tested it. And I had people with me, and they're like excited because they wanted to watch the testing happen live. They want to be a part of it, which is fun. Like, I like having my Twitch people in there with me. And they were too close to me, and I didn't know until the next day that they were so close to me that they had triggered a perk on my shotgun where it's like, if multiple people are close to you, then it like pumps up the impact. And I had put a video out, and then somebody right away left a comment, and I was like, I'm an idiot. I can't believe I didn't think of that. But yeah, everybody makes mistakes. The good news is I went back, retested, the results were basically the same. But yeah, there's so much bullcrap that can go in and throw off the data.
I prefer nuance is what I think it is.
Nuance, yes.
Nuance.
All right, college boy.
That's me, known for college.
So we get a sense of, just figuring out what the max range for a shotgun and just how much goes into that, all the different variables and all the things you have to account for. And even then, it's not a guaranteed one-hit kill range because, like you say, there's that pellet spread. Now extend that to, you've probably tested every gun type in the game at this point. With this recent balance patch, what are the things that are really interesting for you to start digging into and finding the facts on?
I'm really interested in sidearms right now.
Why's that?
Well, because of the ammo economy. Is that the right way to describe it? Ammo economy?
Sure.
Ammo changes? Whatever.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And, I know you guys like to keep your thumb on the pulse of all things PvP. And
yeah, sort of.
Throw out a little tagline there. But the most recent trials weekend that we had, the sidearm usage was bananas. It was something like 53% of all special weapon kills.
Yeah, it was pretty high.
It's like ridiculous. But I don't know. I'm just really interested. Usually I'll see people talking about something, or someone will tap my shoulder and say, hey, did you read this? And someone had posted in Reddit something along the lines of like, shotguns are dead. Like, don't use shotguns anymore in PvP. Totally Dunyan rings. Sorry, Buns. I keep saying that, man. I'm going to give you a nickel in the mail every time I say it. But he was
it's
like...
It's me, Medium Cop. You're Dunyan rings, kid.
Shotguns are dead. Don't mourn them. It's all about sidearms now. But I found that really interesting, and I wanted to kind of dig in to what makes the special weapons good. And it's really different depending on what playlist you're going into. And I kind of have it broken down into like 3 categories right now. And one is trials. And the way that's going now, sidearms are just going to be the king of that for the foreseeable future, pretty sure. And then there's regular matchmaking, which I think is a pretty healthy mix of everything. And then finally, there's like sweats. like really gritty, hardcore, top level PvP. And in that category, I think shotguns are very, very healthy and alive.
I was going to ask you about that because we're talking about the DCS now, and you're on one of those teams along with Ramblin' and Ninja with Noel, and we can look at the breakdown right here and see that most players on that level are still using shotguns. Interestingly enough, a few people have returned to sniping, at least in some game modes.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's still the dominant choice, at least in the high-level competitive stuff.
Definitely, because the biggest thing going on at that level of play is pushing with the team and getting angles and really getting your team shots in with your primary. That's like 95% of what goes on in those matches right now. So even though you could take out a Wormwood and do good at close range or, what have you, they really like just having the backup power, because even though it's going to only come in to maybe like 2% of your total game time at that level, it's really, really effective. You know what I mean? I mean, like a sidearm, it's like a 4-shot kill, right? 3 to the head, 1 to the body. What's the damage on that? It's like 60 to the head, 48 to the body, something like that. But do you know what's
almost
even better?
The same as a scout rifle in terms of damage.
Super quick shots. But you know what's even quicker than a 4-shot kill? A 1-shot kill.
A 1-shot kill. So as you start to dig into sidearms, what are some of the questions that you're asking that you want to find answers for?
I was trying to find... First of all, I was thinking, is there a possible better sidearm than the current archetype? Which, like, the King archetype is almost full rate of fire, like a hair away. It's that Wormwood, Iron Wreath, Jabberhocky. I know I was saying earlier in the week that, oh man, Wormwood is super good. And Bones was very, he's like, Iron Wreath Fallout.
I'm all about that
Iron Wreath. Get it right.
Yeah, me too.
But I was just wondering, like, are there situations where it would be better flat out than a hand cannon? Because there are some people going into trials and they're literally only using their sidearm. They're kind of treating it like a baby shotgun because it's kind of effective really up close. But the damage drop off is super short. It's like 9.5 meters at the max. But yeah, I'm just kind of trying to find how far back can you stand with the sidearm before it becomes not worth it. You know what I mean? It's kind of
interesting.
Yeah, it takes me back to learning how to really be obnoxious with a shotgun with my Warlock. Like, how close do I want to get? At what point is it worth it to just be like, you know what, I'm going to go in and ape that guy? Or is it more worth it to just take out the palindrome and hang back and shoot from back here?
Yeah, the interesting thing about that is trying to get the most out of a sidearm's range is that the actual firing method, because of the rate of fire, it's not easy. It's not easy to maintain perfect accuracy and stability while firing that thing as fast as possible. It's just kind of weird for your hands. So there's definitely engagements where I start shooting them, and then 8 shots later, I was like, I should have started this a lot closer because the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th shot are now nowhere near the target or definitely hitting all body shots. So it's kind of an interesting little risk reward trying to make any sort of range out of the sidearm.
Definitely.
One area of research I would be interested in is to see how the non-hit scan sidearms stack up compared to regular sidearms. I mean, we're living in a sidearm world right now, but I can't say I've seen a single Vestian Dynasty or Queen's Choice in any of the matches I've played. But I don't know if that's because they're just, objectively not as good because you got to pace you got to lead your shots and all that, or maybe there's some advantage there that the numbers bear out that we just haven't stumbled across yet.
I could definitely look into it. That's a really interesting point. I mean, usually the general
Queen's Choice, new meta.
The general consensus is that like hit scan is usually always the way to go. Usually.
Well, do you have a Vestian in your vault?
Yes. But no, I'll look into that. This is always how it starts. People bring up something and I'm like, hey, you know what? That's a good idea. I wonder that too. And then I waste countless hours of my life in Excel and private matches.
Well, I'm glad you have something to do.
Thanks, Swain. It keeps me busy between doing that and sending memes to Bones in the mail.
Oh, I got mail? This is exciting. So besides testing and, shooting a non-moving target, how has it felt to you just playing pubs or even competitive fours and stuff like that? What's your take now that we are about 2 weeks in?
Yeah, tell me how dead shotguns are.
Tell you all about it, brother. Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. I've never felt, and you guys can tell me if you agree or not, but I've never felt the meta so separated. You know what I mean? Like going into fours to do sweats, it's like a completely different game than going in to do trials or something like that. I don't know. It just feels very strange. I'm having fun. I'll tell you that much right now. I'm really enjoying sweating. I think fours, I used to really not like fours. I was all about threes. And when Farcog and the other folks over at PvP Legends were saying, oh yeah, we're going to move a little bit towards fours, I was like, no, please God, no. But I got to say, I'm really enjoying it right now. And if you're out there listening and you haven't gotten into sweats and like you're curious about how fours might play out, I would say that there's really no better time to get into it than right now, because primaries feel great and you can use any special you want.
Fours kind of felt good in my opinion too, because you're just like, I never felt like I was without special all that much, because you're like you're spawning, you're always spawning, you're one of the special boxes. So I don't know, I liked it,
and I'm really enjoying how primaries feel. I'm really liking that it's a primary meta. I think that's kind of cool, because there were times in the past where I could literally go into a scrim with my brother or whoever, and I would not have to do anything with my primary at all. I could literally just take my Matador and just ape around, just weave around the map in like covered lanes or hug a wall or something like that and just roll up on people. And I'm not gonna lie, it did feel pretty satisfying. But at the same time, it's like it's a primary. It just doesn't make sense to not use it like a primary option.
What if it was named something different? Like,
well, then it would be totally
good
okay.
Option. And great option. And really great option.
I do miss special ammo a little bit. I'm not sure how they could possibly make it a little different without going back completely to the way things were. I really do enjoy the way the primary meta feels right now. But every now and then, during a game of Clash, I'll turn my head and look out the window, and a single tear will roll down my cheek, and then I'll go back to playing.
And you realize you're dead because you were staring off and not looking at the game.
Now you don't have any special ammo.
No, why?
All right, so tell me a little bit in more detail. It sounds like you're sticking with the shotgun. Tell me what your complete loadout is in this meta. What's the Fallout secret sauce for success?
It's just Thousand Island dressing.
Trials is Vendor Palindrome and Wormwood. And Sweating is Vendor Palindrome and my Matador. Max range, max impact, obviously. And regular matchmaking is whatever the hell I want.
Fallout, do you also just like vanilla ice cream?
Yeah. Look, I'll tell you right now, I'm the first to admit I am a basic bitch in PvP. All right. I mean, that's what matchmaking is for, though, right? Like, if I want to use my No Land Beyond, I want to use my whatever, my sword, want to be a jackass and run around and start hitting people in the back of the head with my sword hilt. That's what Clash is for, in my opinion. And I'm happy to do that. But when I'm going in to do trials, I'm usually trying to carry somebody to the lighthouse. And I'm going to really try to do my best. So Vendor Palindrome, because it's amazing, and the Wormwood. And for sweats, same thing. I'm playing to win. I don't want to let my teammates down. I want to have a good match. So I'm going to use what I think is the most optimal loadout possible. I had for the longest time not used Second Wind because I'm a Warlock player. And you can send me your hate mail on Twitter. But extra agility for the Warlock is usually a bad idea. because when you're trying to Warlock surf, it is better for you if you have the lowest agility possible. So even though some people really dig on Second Wind because you like the reloading quicker and the aiming quicker and all that good stuff, I had taken it away for a really long time because I thought it was hurting my Warlock. But now I really have to bring it back for 4s, because when you spawn up and there's a special crate right there, you want to get that ammo as quickly as you can and then really jump back into the fight and cover your friends as quickly as possible, because they're dying out there without you. They need the team shots, you know what I mean? And the last thing you want is to be standing there like a schmuck, hiding behind a pillar, loading your Matador for 5 minutes before getting back into the fight. But for trials, my loadout is Voidwalker with Axion Bolt, of course, because it's a playmaker grenade, and the Nova Bomb, which is just perfect because, you know, you can use it to counter people who try to push you with an offensive super, or if you want to get offensive with it, you can just...
Fastest time to kill in the game.
In the game. I mean, some people are really stingy with their Nova Bomb in PvP. Like, they want to hold it. They get that montage clip where they get like a triple kill or something like that. And I mean, for me, it's just, if I have a one-on-one, I don't care. I'll throw it right in your face, because if you're in trials, you just knocked somebody out of the round, and now it's a 3-on-2, and you have a big advantage there. And for 4s, I'm running Stormcaller, and that's mostly because I'm playing with Ramblin', who is kind of like permanently called dibs on the Voidwalker. But yeah, Stormcaller. I don't think anyone is going to say that it's a bad subclass. And again, no real surprises. I'm using Amplitude because you want that really long tickle finger range. You want Electrostatic Mind because you want to use that random opportunity when you're running with your teammates to get that super a little bit quicker. And I've actually switched from Pulse Wave to, God, why am I blanking on that perk? Transcendence?
The longer super.
The longer super. Because supers in 4s are really kind of huge. And I think I can do a real lot for my team by actually pushing with a longer Storm Trance. Like, there's nothing more annoying than you pop your Storm and you don't get anybody. Like, you just want to hit yourself over the head. Like, it just feels terrible. But I switched off Pulse Wave because of the extra agility. And even though it helps with the weapon handling and all that good stuff, I don't like it anymore for my Warlock because it really messes with my Warlock jumping.
As of today, recording this, the TWAB came out, and there was a little update from Josh Hamrick. Of course, none of this official, none of this out in the game, but they announced a few changes specifically to Blink and also to Scories and maybe Sidearms. How did you feel about those changes? Good for the game?
Yeah, totally. I was really excited to read about the changes, mostly because I'm really happy that, I mean, not that I didn't think that Bungie was listening to us before. I know that they're listening to us, but it's just really great to get very quick feedback.
They've got bugs in the studio.
I mean, the patch only came out, like a week ago, and already they've analyzed the feedback. They've heard the calls, and they're like, yeah, you know what? We're going to do a little extra tweak. I think it's great.
It's definitely a nice little sort of change of pace from the rather long time between patches, and obviously they were hard at work on a lot of changes. But I remember back in beginning of year 2, we were so excited every week to record to say like, hey, there was a new thing mentioned, or there's another hot fix, or there's another tweak to this, or like a subclass change. So I think it's really great, especially with how old this game is, to get a little, some lifeblood pumped into it.
Definitely. And I think that the change that they made to Scory, I think that's really huge. I think that's probably the number one change right now. And look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. You know, I go into trials, again, I'm trying to get somebody to the lighthouse. I have no shame in admitting that I run with the Scories artifact. Now, I'm not hiding at the back of the map, like, huddled around a campfire waiting and just, because I mean, you want to be aggressive, you want to get the map control. And if you're camping in the back, you don't really have the opportunity to push up and get the optimal map control. I mean, a friend of mine once told me, I think it was use whatever and don't feel sorry about it. I can't remember who the hell it was, but he told me
close enough.
That's right. Yep, that's it.
That's it.
It's
But,
use the things that are going to do you some good in the game. And hey, don't you say sorry about it, young kid.
And you have to say it exactly like that every time.
Yeah.
Like a 1940s
It rolls off the tongue.
gangster. Use whatever, kid. Don't worry about the repercussions.
Use whatever you want. Don't let other people judge you.
But I understand that there's a lot of frustration that comes in the game when a team does play like that, when they're using the scories, all three of them, and they're chilling in a bubble at the back of the map. It really slows down the game, and it's kind of frustrating. So the change that they put in where it's like you have to kind of trigger it, you know what I mean? You got to get a kill once every, what was it, like a minute or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's every 60 seconds.
I think that's a really good change. I think that's going to play out pretty well.
Well, hey, last thing. You mentioned at the beginning of this interview that you were trying out a rather controversial perk on a hand cannon that doesn't just max range. Want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, I was playing some fours with Ninja, and he brought up that he thinks that braced frame is now pretty potentially viable on your favorite hand cannons. And when I say favorite, I mean IS Luna and Palindrome. And I was really curious about that because I know that in the past we always wanted really maximum range, no exceptions, because we wanted to deal with the bloom mechanic on the hand cannons that we all know about. But now that Bungie had went in and changed how the bloom mechanic works, I was like, oh, wow, that's a good point. Maybe the max range isn't as super mandatory as it used to be. So I went into a private match and I've been doing there's damage, maximum damage range, there's maximum effective range, which a good friend of ours, Mr. KeenKoala, had theorized that.
Who?
Keen, am I saying that right? Keen Kangaroo, is it? I think that's the guy.
Oh, yeah.
That guy.
That's it.
He had theorized in a video of his that maximum damage range and effective range were two different things. And I was doing a whole bunch of private testing about shooting with braced frame on your hand cannon with and without rangefinder. And the max damage range numbers are actually kind of interesting. The rangefinder braced frame Luna has a maximum damage range of 27 meters. And that is basically like a hair away from a regular non-rangefinder rifled barrel, IS Luna. Very, very close. And so the maximum range, if you're looking at a rangefinder IS Luna, rifled barrel versus braced frame, it's only a damage difference of 3 meters, which is really, really short. Like I could reach out and tickle you 3 meters. You know what I mean? Not with a Stormcaller. I mean like IRL.
Please don't tickle me.
Just you wait till Guardian Con, buddy. But so anyway, I actually remembered an old episode of Crucible Radio where you guys talked with our good friend Noosk. And I was kind of thinking, like, is really the bottom line just weighing, hey, a 3 meter damage drop-off range compared to a really noticeable increase in like recoil control? Like, is it worth it? But then I was thinking, is there anything else that range has a really strong effect on? And yes, I did. It does, because I remembered good old Noosk telling us that it is very strongly tied to aim assist. So the kind of bottom line is that if you have a braced frame IS Luna with rangefinder, I should say it's definitely important to have rangefinder. If you have one of those, it's actually quite freaking viable if you use it on a small map. Definitely don't try to break it out on like rusted lands or something like that. But if you're playing on Cauldron or Anomaly, you should really give it a whirl, especially if you find, you know how IS Luna has that really obnoxious recoil kick? It's like way off to the right.
Oh, see, that's what I like about it.
Yeah, at this point, you're used to
keep
that.
your eye on your. Well, it's like with
bit.
Palindrome, it's so close to vertical that when it kicks, you can no longer see what you're shooting at. With EOS, it's kind of off to the side. You keep your eye on it.
Did you call it EOS?
EOS Luna.
I've never heard anyone call it that before.
Well, what do you call it?
The Luna.
All right.
Oh, but
What?
There should be a character. I think every vendor should like talk about the things they sell. So everyone would know how to say it, and we don't have debates about like, yes, I like the Haka pulse rifles or the Haka or any of that, or what is it? Cocytus scout rifles. There's too many words in this game that don't make sense or aren't said out loud in anything else in the world. That's my take. You heard it here first.
Take. All right, Play, you were saying.
Yes. TLDR, let me give you the short version. If you have a braced frame, rangefinder, IS Luna, if the recoil pattern annoys you, you think it's kind of difficult to control, then use your braced frame rangefinder Luna on a small map. Because I went into a bunch of matches, I tested it out. You can notice like a tiny dip in the stickiness from the loss of range aim assist. But again, if you're on a small map, it feels crispy. I'm going to say it feels crispy AF.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, rifled barrel is probably still the better perk all around. But again, give it a try.
I have to admit, I was a little bit disappointed that nobody commented on the fact that I shortened Fallout plays to play instead of Fallout.
I heard it, but I just didn't want to address it. I don't know. I don't know what to do with that.
Fair enough. No, I think you make a good point. Like, we are all pretty used to pretty hard kicking hand cannons. If you've not tried a max stability hand cannon, you should give it a shot. It just feels very different compared to the amount of sort of compensation, the recoil compensation and the pacing that we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's always at the end of the day going to boil down to personal preference. I mean, I know that there are some people I play with who really enjoy the braced frame on small maps like Cauldron. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm probably going to be sticking to rifled barrel because I really like that extra little bit of stickiness, but it never hurts to break out from the norm. You might try it and find out that you really like it. You might go full ham and be like, wow, why didn't I do this before?
All right. Well, hot take right there. Fallout, it is still early in 2017. We have the better part of a year of Destiny 1 left. What are you looking forward to in 2017, and what do you want to do in 2017?
Well, other than Guardian Con, which I'm super hyped about as always, we have boys. We have DCS coming up, and I'm really hyped about that. I think it's a really cool idea to run like a Farcog style tournament in like a ladder form. You know what I mean? Like, it goes on for a while, and you're gonna have a lot of really great teams involved and playing in there, and you guys are involved in part of that stuff too.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you've been listening to Crucible Radio today, you will know that we talked about DCS,
Yeah.
our very first DCS segment earlier in this episode. So, yeah, I think people know about Fallout.
Yeah, dude, I think everyone is kind of on board already.
Are they caught up? Okay, good. The thing I'm excited about the most is, again, I'm a sub on Ramblin' and Ninja's competitive team, which is really freaking awesome because even though I'm probably not going to play in the bulk of the matches, it's really brought me in to scrimmaging just a whole lot more and against really, really good players. And, you know, every now and then, you're going to get your ass kicked. It's going to happen. But I'm totally okay with that because you always learn when you get your ass kicked one way or the other. Other than being on a team, which is pretty hype, I'm also excited to still be a part of the team that kind of writes the rules. I know that's sort of boring. Like, oh, you're excited about writing the document that gets posted on the website. No, I enjoy that part because Farcog and I talk to each other about potentially upcoming rule changes. And every now and then he'll ask me to go into PvP and test something out. Like the time I went in and tested armor and recovery time, which kind of ultimately led to the rules being reworked so that you could wear chest armor with a certain perk on it. It wasn't like a blanket ban. So I really, even though it's kind of nerdy, I really do enjoy being involved in that capacity. I'm also going to be involved in a top 10 commentary kind of thing, like a highlight reel, ESPN sort of spiel, which is freaking hype. Gonna talk about some crispy plays after a weekend of awesome matches. So I'm looking forward to that too.
All right. Well, looking forward to working with you to spread the word about DCS and keep people updated. And yeah, you know, Fallout, all things said, all things being said, you're an all right guy. I like you pretty good. Glad you're around. And I think people should watch your YouTube videos because they're incredible. If people want to learn more about the man, the mystery, the myth, the legend that is Fallout Plays, where can they find you?
You can find me at youtube.com/FalloutPlays, twitch.tv/FalloutPlays, Twitter at Fallout_plays.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And on PlayStation at XI_XI12 Fallout with a 0
Son of a bitch.
plays XXXIII
Throw
in the
a couple
bars.
of 420s in there.
So
You'll
edgy.
find me.
I was about to say that I can't wait to return to being your co-host and you not being a guest so I can be a dick to you again, but I realized that didn't stop anything.
Nothing stops nothing.
Nothing stops this goddamn train.
But seriously, thank you for coming on the show, dude.
Thank you so much for having me, boys. Always a pleasure. You're doing great work here. Keep it up.
No.
We love you,
Thanks,
Fallout.
bud.
All right, well, Fallout back with another classic Fallout interview. He's, I think Swain's not a fan. I think he's pretty clearly in first for most number of appearances on Crucible Radio, but that's just because we like him so much. Hey, if you enjoyed our DCS coverage this week, and please go check out the video version of that segment, which features Mr. Fallout himself. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing these every other week to kind of keep the pulse of the Destiny competitive world. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and that wraps it up for this week, guys. More playtesting to do, more just grinding and feeling it out, and then maybe some more changes on the horizon soon.
Yeah, but first, we sleep.
Yeah, first we're going to bed.
I'm going to take an extended nap tonight, thinking from midnight to 8 a.m. That's my longest nap
solid
yet.
plan.
Yep. I'm actually going to wake up at 4 and just have 2 4-hour naps. But either way, be well rested.
Well, everyone, thank you for listening this week. As always, you can check us out at crucibleradio.com. Follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/crucibleradio. All sorts of great stuff going on, especially if you want to watch the episode. We got some cool videos going up soon, so check us out, and we will see you next week. Love y'all.
Bye.
See you.